Good morning. Good morning. So it's kind of traditional, I think, at silent retreats, many I've been to anyway, to begin, the first day with sort of the breakdown of the separate me and the me thought and the nature of mind. And that's generally the beginning place. And I am going to, well, we'll see, but I think there's going to be some talk about that. The nature here is to go straight to the heart. It's just the nature here. There's so many words to use, and they all mean so many different things to each one of us. And like beautiful Adevi and Shuli, English is not even their first language, and they're willing to sit here and try and figure out, like, what is she saying? I mean, words are funny. They mean many things. They mean many things to different people, and where you come from, where you grew up, what the people were speaking around you. So I like to be gentle with that because I've learned my lesson over the last 10 years that I probably will offend somebody with some word that I'm using. It happens. But whatever we choose to use to language the inexpressible, ineffable, unfathomable source of all that is. Source feels too sterile for some people. There's a real movement these days to call it the ground of being. And, Timo and I are gardeners as a lifestyle, so the ground feels really great to me. That's a great word. I can really get the sense of it. Earth lover and plant whisperer. But if I had to choose, I would choose the word heart. And I love Ramana Maharshi for that, because that was his word too. He said, and bear with me, this is maybe not how he said it, but you live from and in the heart as the heart through diving into the stillness of the heart. That's certainly been the experience here. And if we are going to deconstruct, dismantle the separate me, which is, I'm assuming, why most of us are here, because you're at this retreat. Maybe it isn't what you were planning on, but that's sort of the deal, is the deconstruction and dismantling of the separate idea, the belief in separation. What I've found in this journey, yesterday, and in each moment now, what I find is what soothes like a balm, like a cool wind, what soothes that process is heartfeltness and the qualities of the heart: sincerity, gentleness, tenderness, if you want to call it bodhicitta. Compassion, understanding, kindness. Is it kind? You can say that to the inner world while you're sitting there on the cushion. Is this kind? as we're hammering away and inquiring into the, questioning every belief and generally judging a lot. Judging from a very deeply conditioned habit, a habit of mind that when the input comes into awareness as reflective reality, there is a split-second process, a referencing that begins to describe it, name it, categorize it, decide about it. And it's all in relationship to a me. It's not to be judged. Please, is that kind. That process is an old way of being that is virtually done with at this point, is no longer going to be standing up or being able to be animated. It's disappearing. But as that's happening, it is really coming on strong. Even in our own process, I guess you might call it, journey, surrounded by Sangha and mostly like-hearted and like-minded, peaceful people. There are some phases within the dismantling and unfolding that can feel grievous, lonely. The me is generally quite enamored with itself and can't see or understand what's beyond itself. It's not the tool for that seeing. It doesn't survive the journey, but it can't understand that the other side is unique individuality that shines with divinity. Like those flowers are not competing, comparing, describing. Like this lovely, I think it's an insect that's roaring this entire time, doesn't have any kind of concept of silence. It's not in opposition to anything. Do we get it? There's no opposition. That's a convenient way of being in order to enjoy life. But if we take it as some sort of fundamental reality, well, we all know what that feels like personally, and we all know what that looks like on the evening news. It's the mind like in all these I almost wanted to use the word cult, but maybe that's too strong a word. These systems of manifestation these days with the positive thinking and everything and creative visualization and all that, not against it, nothing wrong with it. It works to a certain extent. It works to a certain extent. But it's still limited. It's still limited because it's still of the mind that forms good and bad, this and that, right and wrong. It's still of that mind, rather than the mind itself as an avenue of pure awareness, an avenue of clear light, an avenue of unknowingness. It's beyond what we can know through an intellectual idea concept. Those are handy. I'm not against, look at this building and the engineering that went into it. Somebody had an idea, Frank, and the laws of physics were used. Beautiful. It's incredible when the intellect is in service to that which animates. Wow. I mean, just even the way some people move. I'm a real student of Thich Nhat Hanh, and just his face, the way he smiles, it is so imbued. It's like this building. It's so imbued with the true nature, the heart. It's present, absolutely. So, the qualities that can be touched upon and evoked, that we find and discover in the heart, as the heart, the still heart. I'm not talking about emotional reactivity, top 40 love song heart, which is a beautiful thing, but that's not what I'm speaking about. Diving into the still heart. The qualities of sincerity, just being able to be honest with oneself in this process, on the cushion, in meditation, with a gentleness, a kindness, because there can be, it can range, but if inquiry and you're really looking at, who am I? What is this? What is all of this? What's beyond this me referencing system? It can sometimes be anywhere from like just completely dry and irrelevant and actually super mental, or it can be a super highway freebie day with no traffic for the superego. Bad, bad, bad. You're bad, you're bad, you're wrong. You're unworthy, you're doing it wrong. These thoughts are, you know what I'm saying. And then, I have questions come to me that are like, geez, I'm not going there. Why would I want to look into this if, that's the result? So it's this quality of heart that comes to bear upon that deconstruction of the me and all of its righteousness, all of its needs, all of its wants, because letting go doesn't happen generally. I mean, maybe, I'm speaking generally, in an atmosphere and an orientation of shame, shame, shame. What we resist persists and grabs hold even tighter. And many of us in this room I don't know everybody, but I mean, some of you I know really well, and I know that you have great capacity for deep, open field listening. I mean, it's actually your, you know, your job, if you want to call it that. But do we turn it and shine it on the inward process, on the thoughts? Is there room for all the stuff that's going to come forward in the spaciousness that is created with meditation? I'm not part of the bliss cult, although bliss has been a very significant part of this journey. There comes a time where the deepest seeds, the deepest slants, the deepest lenses and veils that are obscuring the true nature come to light. And I'm using those words specifically. They come to light. They come to light. So, you know, please be gentle. Please be kind and compassionate and understanding. All of the mistakenness that is wrapped up in this me is innocent. It's innocent. The deepest horrors of this world are innocent. What can possibly understand that other than the heart? Is the mind going to look at the deepest horrors of this world and go, oh, that's innocent? I don't think so. That takes the heart. Thich Nhat Hanh walking through the killing fields and smiling, not out of what the mind's idea of, like, you know, that way of spiritual bypassing that maybe some of us have tried, where it's like, oh yeah, okay, it's all good. Because there can be phases, you know. This is a much different experience than that. To really seat oneself in the, as T.S. Eliot would say, the still point of the turning world, to sit the middle way at the axis of neither coming nor going nor being nor not being, the Heart Sutra. That is living from the heart, as the heart, through diving into the still heart. So one sees and recognizes the horrors of the world and one's own self, what we've put upon ourselves, unkindness towards ourselves. And yet, there is a compassionate, openness that is not generated, it's not manufactured, it's effortless presence and abiding as effortless presence in the presence of whatever is presently present. I didn't mean to do that. The be as is pointer sounds very dry, right? But living as an empty immediacy, living without gaps, no gaps. Is just that. So we're looking into whatever is feeling vital and relevant as we sit. You know, vital and relevant below just the, you know, I need this, I want this, I need this, I want this. You know, that whole thing that happens. It happens. But deeper than that, there's a yearning and a longing to come home. Come home to what one, salud, to what one truly, truly is, the isness that's beyond any conceptualization that we might have. So the traditional way of perceiving, right? And maybe not for, maybe some of you were born, you know, I don't know everyone's way, but the general way is to sense there's the direct experience. It's there's this direct experience. I'm having a direct experience. It's beyond I'm having. There is a direct experience. And then within what my teacher, Dr. Hawkins, used to say, 1/10,000th of a second, there is a straight up to the head. To name it, talk about it, narrate it, describe it, and put it into relationship with a perceiver who has a history and, you know, all the rest. And so then a story comes in to say, well, if that's happening, and it is, well, then I behave a certain way in relationship to it. This is what happens next, and there's the story. And then all that belief is supported by an emotional feeling, which is a physiological process within our nervous system. Emotion is physiological. It's like getting an IV drug. It's like taking drugs, medicine, whatever you want to call that. It changes the physiology. It's wired into the nervous system, these pathways. And we can see that. And when we begin to look into it, it all just starts dissolving. There's no actual entity in there having all these experiences. There's no real experiencer. There's only experience. There's only is. And then you know, I'm talking about this like what, in the span of, I got 15 more minutes here or something. This is not, you know, I mean, this journey can be very, very dramatic. Sharon used to say, I understand, honey, you're a big experiencer, so am I. You know, or it can be very subtle, you know. It doesn't have to be, it's every color in the rainbow. Thanks be to God. But there's generally some resistances that we come upon as this realization begins to deepen and deepen and unfold and deepen and permeate deeper and deeper layers of identity, consciousness that has become identified. It's become identified. It's become limited. It's thinking of itself as a me that is separate from the world, other people, the ground of being. And as that is permeated with our devotion and compassion, it unfolds at deeper and deeper layers, and it begins to recognize itself as itself in and as everything, but not as a someone. That's the empty fullness, the no thing, everything. No one wakes up. No one becomes enlightened. That one that's believing itself to be the one that's going to make that journey, gone. I didn't know all of the words that get tossed around in non-dual circles and everything when this all happened here. So, you know, what it felt like was permission to shine. Permission to shine. All of the assumptions, limits, ideas, beliefs about what was here and how it was, who it was, all that stuff fell out. It wasn't even noticeable to most people. But it was free. It's free. It's liberated as Jennifer-ness and enjoyed as like this rose is enjoying unfolding. It's without self-consciousness. It doesn't need the narrator and the self-reflection to enjoy. It is enjoyment itself, being enjoyment, being peacefulness, compassionateness, awareness, awareness being, emptiness filling. And there were some, crazy times where in the beginning of teaching, where it was like I would sit down and the mind was so silent then. I mean, nothing. Isness is. Some of you remember, they're laughing in the back because these lovely women stuck through it. What more are you going to say? Honestly. Some other qualities in the heart of being, the heart of the heart. the absolute heart. Our strength, courage, capacity. So one doesn't have to turn away to have a sense of well-beingness. Does this mean that we're like just a doormat accepting everything? No, that's not what I'm speaking of. Yes, deep acceptance of what is automatic. To see clearly beyond the mind's agenda and beyond the fear of separation is to be unknowingly, unthinkingly, unstrategizingly an avenue of harmony and love beyond a personal idea of that. It's immediacy. There's no pushing away of wholeness. Wholeness. So we can't hide out in us and them anymore. That's gone. There is no us and them. It's a complete figment of the imagination. There begins to be an attitude, you might say, an orientation, a way, a flow of, I understand. It's not necessarily, oh, okay, keep on doing that. That looks like it's a great thing to do. No. But there is a base, a foundation of, I understand. I understand. I understand why this would unfold this way. If the thoughts were being believed of separateness and fear and unworthiness and all the stuff, of course it unfolds this way. Us and them. If all of that's believed, well, we know how it unfolds. We understand. That understanding, do we understand the power of that? Why all the paths talk about compassion as the rule, I guess, what do we want to, that's maybe not the right word. Do you have the right word? You sometimes do. Okay. Compassion, understanding. So I'm going to finish now. But that's back to, it can be very, very, very simple. And generally, if it is very simple, it's closer to the truth. Questioning, is it kind? Is this kind? Is this thought kind? Is this attitude towards myself kind? Is this attitude towards someone else or the environment? I don't know. The conditioning, the habits. Is there a avenue for kindness, a way? And if not, then where is that? Where is it? Where is it within myself? Because it is your nature. It's our nature. It's our nature. We don't have to manufacture it. It's unveiling it, uncovering it, discovering it through the surrender of the thought and belief of separation. The physiology will follow. The mental habits will follow. All of it will naturally unfold just like a flower. If we bring sincerity, kindness, courage, open-heartedness, understanding, and then sit right down directly without rambling around in some course of keeping oneself safe, sit right down and be as is, in kindness, in compassion. I know it's hard. I know there are some very well-worn habits, but they don't stand up. They can't stand up to this. They cannot. They are simply beliefs. They have no tangible reality. Is that amazing? Does that blow our minds? That blows my mind every time. That it's simply a perception, a perspective. That's it. All the suffering, all the wars, all the horror. One belief. One belief. I am something. I am separate. That's it. That's all that has to change. And we can sit here and do that right now. And we have each other. And a lineage, and or whatever you need. It doesn't even have to be that. The earth herself. Take heart, my beloveds. And question knowingness, conceptual knowingness. And if it calls you, look into the source of reality. Look into it. Turn towards it. We have plenty of time to listen to the narrative mind, the conceptualizing mind. It will be there when we need it and when we don't. Look deeper, closer in than any thought could be. What is here? Always, 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 always. You know, the other thing that always used to happen at the early retreats is I would just basically constantly be telling everyone I loved them, which was very startling for many people and not actually appreciated by most. Maybe not most, but it was a little bit like, what? We have a lot of concepts about saying that to another human being, like when we say it and to whom we say it. But if you fall into love as love, you want to kind of basically go around saying, thank you, I love you. And that's about it. So, thank you, I love you. Thank you, I love you. I love you.